Here we have a 1965-1966 Nordmende. It's called automatic, Transita automatic. And it's quite a sophisticated radio. It's got AM/FM, shortwave. It looks like a very high quality radio. Very high quality case. It's a beautiful radio. And I acquired this a couple of years ago, and I've been wanting to repair it. Last time I checked it out, it was dead when I put power on it. So it might be a simple fix, and then again it might not be. Looking at the battery pack or battery compartment, you can see very clearly that it's all corroded. So that's not a good looking sign. This normally took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe it looks like D cells. So I'll open this radio up and see if I can power it up with a power supply. The radio comes with 4 screws on the bottom, and it all comes apart. Everything slips out, including this part, and the rest just comes out. So I put the screws in a container, pill container. That's usually what they're very good for. And I'm just going to take the radio apart here so that we can concentrate on it in particular, so we don't have to bother with stuff getting in our way all the time. Interestingly enough, this radio is made of wood. Kind of, I expected plastic, but wood is kind of environmentally sustainable. And it's got an interesting door here, which has all the jacks for power, external power, 7.5 volts, headphones, and a couple other things. The inside of this radio is very well constructed, as would be expected of a German radio of that period. This I think was even designed to be used as a car radio. Looking at the shape of it, it could sit in a slot in the dashboard. But I don't think this has ever been used as a car radio. But here is what the top of the circuit board looks like. So you can see it has an extremely big built-in, that's about an 8-inch ferrite rod. This would be a cool DX machine with that size of ferrite rod. You can see it here. Now that's it's about 7 inches, just under 7 inches, 6 3/4 inches. But that's still a pretty good size one, and get some very good sensitivity with that. And it also has a whip antenna for AM and FM. I mean shortwave and FM. And this would be not designed for being an in-dash car radio, but to be clipped underneath the dash, I think, so that it could be taken out easily. But this looks like some kind of a thing for an attachment for going into a car. But anyway, this is a multi-purpose radio. Interesting. So I want to put power to it, and see what we get. I'm at a bit of a loss how power was distributed to the radio, because this is a tab that comes out. This is so you can use it with that type of plug for a car radio, and you got this here, which I would assume is power. Will that go like that? No, I don't think so. Would that hook up to this somehow? That looks like it's broken. I think there was some kind of a terminal here where this was disconnected to this, but I think there's a missing piece. This looks like it's busted. So anyway, I think these are the power. This is for power, so let's just have a look. Maybe this it didn't look like it's plugged in, and weird. Doesn't go in easy, and doesn't have a thing in the middle. So I'll just hook the power up to these two here. See what happens. So here I've hooked it up to a little homemade power supply that I made a long time ago, and I'm getting sound. Here's the volume control. And put it on FM, tune it, full volume, UFM, don't seem to be tuning in any stations. Here's S, I don't know what that is, shortwave I guess. Bands. This would get from 49 meters to a bit above. This would be 6 to 14, 15 megahertz, but nothing in that. Turn it to medium wave. This noise. Sounds like some very bad capacitors. Long wave, although I shouldn't expect to hear anything on there. And then over here is AFC, which was what they used to have in the 1960s, automatic frequency control. So, I guess this says UFM, that's probably mono, and S would be stereo FM. But so it's not dead, but it is very noisy. But right off that tells me there's some bad capacitors in there. Probably in the audio stage. So we'll just have to go through it, and the audio output stage, I think that would be over here. Yeah, just touching that area. I'm getting a response there. So I will start, we will take this board out and check it for, interesting enough, this board is at an angle. I wonder why. Maybe someone tried to take it out. Interesting. Seems to settle down. Interesting. This audio board, as I said, is at an angle, and it's not easy to get these little nuts out, so I have to use a very small set of vice grips. Angular vice grips, offset. There we are. There, it's coming off. Nothing would take them off. There we are. This part of the radio, this amplifier board, is in at an angle, and it's at a, seems like it's in there tight. Can't get it out easy. Pulling on something and impinging on things. When I bring it up this far, it seems to be impinged on the sides. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this whole thing off here. There's just 2 screws here and 1 here. That should allow me to access this board. So this front piece needs to come off. There are 2 screws here and here in the back, and these dials have to come off. But the antenna is a bit difficult. That's stuck with some kind of a, I don't know, press bearing or something there. So I'm going to have to figure that one out in order to get this off, so I can get at the other part there, get the amplifier board out. So this radio is pretty complicated with a lot of unnecessary parts on it. Just, I guess, to make it more rigid. But it was, as I said, it's a high quality radio in its time, and that's just the way they are. German radios are way overbuilt. So maybe I can get this panel off here by removing these 2, but then this has to come off in order to get those off. So this is insane. I'm gonna have to take some time to figure out how to take these all apart so I can get that one board out. Talking about overbuilt. Something has to come off to get off something else, and then you realize that you got that off and the board comes out anyway. So I'm just going to have to be very careful and think this one out. And now, in order to get this frame out, it's attached to the speaker. So now the speaker has to come out. 2 nuts that hold the top of the speaker on have to come out. One of the problems with taking all these parts off is that you end up breaking wires and getting a whole lot of unnecessary, oh, that's the wrong one, what am I doing there? You end up having to take off all this stuff, ends up breaking a whole lot of wires if you're not careful. And that might keep you from fixing the radio because you've got so many other problems. So you just have to be so careful when you take these apart. One like this is as complicated as a watch. There's more mechanical things to concern yourself with in a radio like this than there is in than electronics. Now that I've got those 2 off, and this frame rail, or what are you going to call it, is kind of coming out. Now I see that it's being held in there by, I think it's this lamp here. So I'll have to take that lamp off there to get that frame rail out. Now you'd think they would have made this easy to take this board out, but it's as if it was manufactured not to be worked on. But I don't think that's the way it is, but everything is a challenge in a radio like this. Boy, never seen a radio quite this. So many panels and everything like this. It's absolutely insane. Look at the complexity in this radio. You can see down here all the IF bins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Packed a lot into there. I can see now why this frame rail is not coming off easy. The dial cord is attached to it. Oh boy, that's absolutely insane. I think this radio was designed to drive radio technicians absolutely crazy. So I'm beginning to think now that I better take the speaker out so I can have better access to this board. Maybe that's the way to do it. Then the speaker will be flopping around and it will be vulnerable to be damaged. So I'm going to have to maybe unsolder that speaker. See, here I've got the loudspeaker out. This 1960s foam rubber will have to be scraped off because it's starting to deteriorate and turn into powder. There's some of it also in the battery compartment, and that just becomes a real pain in any radio that you work on with this. It's usually in the battery compartment around the speaker. Maybe I'll paint it with something like some kind of glue or something that will hold it in place. I'll have to think about that one. So it looks like I've got my work cut out for me. Here I've taken the wires off and we can see the inside of the amplifier board. There's an electrolytic on the back. There's this one, this one, that looks like an electrolytic, that one, and there might be a couple more. That one there is 250 volts, but I can't see the value. It looks like an electrolytic. I don't think that one is this 0.047, but that one there might be an electrolytic. So that's one on the back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8. That one could be 2. Oh boy, what a job. This small amplifier board has a fairly large transformer there, and another fairly large one there. I guess this handles quite a bit of current. It's quite a decent power that comes out of this radio. For a portable radio, this is a pretty hefty speaker. I've managed to get the board out a bit more, and this electrolytic here looks really dried out, and I think this might be one too. It's so hard to tell which ones because they look alike. This is definitely one. So I'm going to check that capacitor that I thought looked dried out. So I'll check it with this ESR meter and turn it on, and okay. That's very surprising. Now I'll check the one on the underside of the board. So now I'm going to check this capacitor right underneath there, and let's see what it does here. No, that one's okay. Try it again. It's got about 3 ohms, which is quite within the range of what it should be. So here we have some interesting things in this radio. As I said, it's very, very precision made. Here we have this fits over down here. I've removed it, and it covers the front end of the FM radio. Tiny little circuit board. Not tiny by today's standards, but in the 1960s this was cutting edge. So you've got everything here for the front end of the radio, including the tuning. You've got 2 coils, and it's a slug tune coil, and it's like a cylinder, basically. It's like a solenoid, and it's metal. There's 2 pieces of metal that go in and out of those coils to tune the radio. And here's a string on one end. It goes right through, and it goes around the tuning. So this tunes the whole 88 to 108 megahertz band. This one coil is for the intermediate frequency coil for the oscillator, and the other one is probably for the RF amplifier to tune it. So I don't suspect the problem is in here. I just opened it up to film it. It was quite interesting. The noise is common to all the parts of the radio, so I'm going to concentrate more on this board, which is the IF, and this amplifier board here. So I've got some more idea of what the boards in this radio are. I managed to get hold of some of the schematics, not all the schematics, and I don't speak German, and the schematics and diagrams are all in German, so I'm going to have to do some translation as I go through. But by what I could get out of it was that this whole board here that we were looking at earlier is the IF board, and of course this one I knew was the AF board when I looked at it earlier when I first opened it up. So the one we were just looking at is underneath here. Now the AM radio front end, I still am not sure where it is. AM and shortwave front end. This board seems to, this transistor here, or what am I saying? This transistor here, they are, I'm looking for TR1. I think this is TR3 or 4. These are one down here and here. These are much higher in the 3 and 4, I believe. So I'm going to have to see in the placement diagram, which I'm going to try and download, where the AM radio board is. That's an area I'm going to just familiarize myself with. I've got the signal tracer on RF mode, and I'm clipping it to various points in the IF section, and this point here at the top of, I think it's R113, is seems to be, I'm getting the noise that I was getting in the amplifier board. So I'm going to try and work my way back, and it doesn't matter which band that I put it into, the noise is common to all the bands. There's a diode right in the middle of the IF board, and when I put the detector on one side and I turn the volume up, I'm getting quite a bit of noise. Now I'll check the other side. The other side, the noise is still there, but not to the same extent. Now I'm going to go a little bit further down. I'm going to check bottom of this resistor here. Don't notice any noise really. Turn it up. No, don't notice any noise there. Nope, don't get much there either. And that's at the other side of the resistor. So, I wonder if that's a noisy diode. That diode is very noisy on one side. So maybe I'll take that diode out and check it, or substitute another one. The diode in question is D6 right there. That diode D6 is right there, and it looks like it's in the AFC circuit. We got AFC out, so it's right there in the AFC circuit of the FM detector. And so diodes do become noisy, and there's nothing unusual about that. So I'm just going to look up what type of diode it is. I'm thinking if it's in the AFC, it's a varactor diode. So I've raised one side of the diode, and I put the signal tracer on it, and now I'm tuning in AM band. Let's try FM. I guess that's the AM section, so that's why.
Now, when you call 1-800-4COIT.
That's F-O-R-C-O-I-T.
Anyway, I think I'm on the right track. So it looks like D6 is the one that is causing the problem. I lifted one side of it, and the noise went away. So I believe that diode is it's in a configuration with two other capacitors and a couple of other ones there in a coil, so it's in a tuned circuit, so it's probably a varactor diode. So it says up there 9 puff, but I think that's C77. So it's probably a very small varactor diode for the FM AFC circuit, and I guess it just went noisy. I put this diode up on this curve tracer, and it seems to be okay. It's got a normal curve. So can't see anything unusual about that diode that I took out. Oh, this curve tracer wouldn't tell me if the diode is noisy. The only way to tell if a diode is noisy is to reverse bias it and put a scope on it. Even then you might not be able to tell. I've got the scope attached to the bottom of let's see here, C49, which is that one right there. C49 coming off TR4. And I see I've got it in long wave mode, and here I can see when I turn I have an IF signal there, and I put it into medium wave. I can see the IF signal there. And there I've got an IF signal right there. And that's for FM. And that's says 12 megahertz. But it doesn't seem to be changing when I turn the tuning indicator. So I was mistaken about the frequency not changing. On the medium wave it is changing. See, on long wave on long wave it's changing too. See here. Yeah, it's changing in both medium wave and AM. There we are. As I tune the IF oscillator is changing frequency. FM seems to be problematic though. It doesn't seem to be changing much. That might have something to do with the fact I've taken out that diode. Turning should change it. Here it says 10, and at the other end it's not changing much. It's pretty well staying on 10. So there's something about that diode being removed has affected the changing of the FM frequency in the IF oscillator. But anyway, at least I got it partly working, so we'll just work with what we have. Let's see if I can get an AM signal again.